ESPN, celebrating 150 years of college football.
The mascot thing, it's a big deal in college football.
It starts with the mascots. It is a gateway drug for the kids, but that's not why they did it. It just worked out that way.
Mascots help us feel like a kid.
You never forget the moment you met your first mascot.
It's just fun. I mean, it's one other element of the game that separates it from everything else.
They're a piece of culture that has transcended college football. You may not know a lot about that team. You sure as hell know who their mascot is, right?
Never before. Hey, people 15, man. Got some edge to him.
When we're talking about mascots, you want to be unique. You want to be different. You want to be special.
But the mascots express who you think you are and what you think you are.
That mascot is tangible evidence of all the things that are going into it. I think that's a big reason why they're treated the way they are. It just lets people know that even if you're not in the stadium, this is still representing the university that you care about and you're crazy about, and people rally to that. The greatest.
Guys, I want to thank all of you for coming here on the anniversary of college football. 150 years, we're celebrating the game that means so much to all of us. I can't think of another sport that encourages as much civil and sometimes not so civil discussion and debate and discourse as college football. I'm hoping most of this will be civil, but if you want to get uncivil every now and then, that might make it fun. So I want you guys to think of us as a jury. And since there are 11 of us, let's come up with top 11 in a number of categories. So who doesn't love a good mascot, right? The little kids like to go and have their pictures taken with them. You got guys, jumping around, trying to rile up the crowd. It's part of the fabrics unique to college football, I think, the mascots that are so identifiable with a certain program. So let's come up with the best mascots of all time.
There are two kinds of mascots. There's the guy in the suit. But the great mascots are the ones that are actually alive. I am a fan of any mascot that, in a different circumstance, could kill me.
Are you ready for a workout? Run with Ralphie.
The one that always scared me was Ralphie at Colorado. That buffalo could go wherever he wanted to go.
That thing is wild, boy. He's really flying out there.
Come on, Ralphie, bring it home, baby!
They bring this buffalo in from an undisclosed location to run around a field and basically go home and make everybody go crazy.
No matter how many times you watch Colorado play at home, it's always kind of surprising they have an actual bison running on the field.
You don't want to be in the way, because she doesn't move right or left. She's got one speed, and she's got one direction.
When it comes to mascots, it's got to be animals, right? I mean, there's Bevo at Texas. You got a big, huge cow, basically, right?
Nobody's got Bevo. And at the University of Texas, that is Bevo.
Bevo is just awesome looking. He doesn't scare you.
Hello, hello, how you doing?
But the tiger scares you.
For people that have not been to LSU and seen Mike the Tiger, like, I mean, it's just ridiculous that they have a tiger at football game.
What, are you kidding me? Of course we have a live tiger. We're LSU.
I like to think that the college has something that is dangerous. The LSU tiger could tear me to shreds.
Mike the Tiger has a lair in the middle of campus. So if you're going to class, you might walk past Mike the Tiger's enclosure. He is a treasure at LSU.
We could not measure the greatness of Alabama and Big Al without a War Eagle.
Spirit the bald eagle soars over the stadium before Auburn football games in one of the most majestic traditions in all of college football.
Spirit circles the stadium to get the crowd riled up.
I was at an Auburn game and I saw the War Eagle thing, and it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. They release the eagle and it flies around and it comes down and it lands. And I remember thinking, man, that is amazing.
I don't know if I have one favorite tradition, but, you know, being associated with USC for so long, you appreciate Traveler, the horse.
Since 1961, a noble white horse named Traveler, mounted by a Trojan warrior wearing full battle gear, has pranced along the USC sideline.
When you see Traveler and the Trojan rider, it kind of stirs that emotion in fans.
It's kind of neat riding out that horse and all, and dressed in that Trojan garb.
Traveler, is that the name of the horse? Rock on, Traveler.
I know that there's great affinity for the cuddly, selfie-friendly mascots. But to me, you want fierce, you know, little mean streak to your mascot. I think the live animal mascots generally are the most fierce.
Well, a lot of kids have not seen a tiger in person, and I have been right on the sideline when opposing teams run out, and they park Mike, the tiger at LSU, right where the opposing team runs out. And you'll see guys come out and flinch like, oh man, that really is a live tiger in there. So I think we can debate this one all day. Until you've seen players come onto the field afraid, that is a great mascot.
I think that's fair, but I would not want to be standing in front of Ralphie when he comes charging out of there. I'll be charging the other way. Thank you very much. I think that's a little, that's fierce.
You see him running, and I think those poor dudes holding those ropes, they're not controlling him, he's controlling them.
We keep referring to Ralphie as he. Ralphie is a she. Yeah, and people don't realize that.
And we all know a female mascot is the fiercest.
On the list.
Period. It's hard to be at an Auburn game and not be intimidated by that eagle taking off and coming around the stadium and flying around your head and then heading down to the field. That thing is not that far away from you, and you go from thinking it's a little bird to that is a giant coming at you.
That eagle loses his mind on the way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They got some people that's gonna be in some serious condition. If that eagle just one day said, "I'm about to go handle business in these stands," it'll be a different. Man, them things can pick up babies, man. It's the eagle for me.
Holly and I agree on a lot of things, and as much as we love the tradition of Texas, don't love Bevo. Right?
He's got these big horns, he looks super impressive, and then he just stands there. And I'm just like, do something.
Because he's a steer.
I like Bevo on a charcoal grill.
Wow.
Got a couple more live ones. Bear, give me a few bars of what you hear at USC.
Rod's buddy.
All right.
You know something? I won't go second refrain for you.
How do we feel about Traveler and the Trojan rider?
You know, we got some great mascots on this list. This is not one of them. But that's my own personal view, because my first game against USC, I was a redshirt freshman. We're down in the Coliseum, 7-0 USC first quarter. Travelers running around, stops at our bench, you know, and everything's like, oh, great. 14-0. Every time they scored a touchdown, they stopped behind our bench. I turned to one of my teammates on the bench and I go, I hate that horse. I just hate that horse. And a coach heard me and he ran over and he said, well, then stop them from scoring and the horse won't run.
Okay, they're fierce mascots. But I think there's also room for some diversity in mascots. Some of them are less fierce in most cases and a little more lovable.
Those folks who dress up in the heads and the mascot thing, I appreciate that and respect it. You have to stay in character. There's zero off time because so much of it is about the younger audience.
You need those lovable mascots. There are so many of them that are terrific, and on a personal note, my kids love them.
Welcome the world's most famous college mascot, Sparty!
Spartans were all about war, so you get to hark back to that.
I love that he's big and brawny. He's a soldier and he's a warrior, but he's also approachable. Something you might see on a Saturday morning cartoon.
Everybody knows I love the duck.
Fight, ducks, fight!
the Oregon Duck. He's the San Diego chicken of college football.
I like Oregon because they have the guts to call themselves ducks. It doesn't have to be a tiger or a bear or a lion or something. It's a duck. That shows a fine sense of irony that I can only applaud.
The Oregon Duck is my favorite because he's so funny. He's got thousands of gimmicks.
Not so fast, my duck friend.
Look at the duck! Too bad, duckhead.
He's all dressed up. Georgia's top dog, a bulldog who leads a football team into battle and students in cheer.
Listen, Georgia football reigns supreme there, but I think UGA is, to me, almost bigger than the game, almost bigger than the Dogs football program. It's because of how iconic he is. Got his own house there on the sidelines in Stanford Stadium. I love to walk before the game, go down early, and sort of watching him hanging out there in his house, and all the people coming by just sort of gasping and looking at him.
When UGA passes away, they bury each of the UGAs in Sanford Stadium at Georgia with a nameplate, you know, UGA 4, 5, 6, whatever UGA is, record of the team while UGA was the mascot, and usually a one-sentence epitaph. One of the best ones was UGA 1 or 2, a damn fine dog.
When you start talking about what separates college football, it's mascots like UGA.
I'll tell you, I love mascots because I have 3 small children, all boys, and so I see these characters through their eyes. And we'll flip through the images on the iPads, and I'll tell you the 2 they want to see. The duck and Sparty. They love those. Where's the soldier? Where's the soldier? You know, I see the muscles, and they love that guy, and of course the duck.
Let's be honest, Heather, right? It's the duck. Like, the duck is the most lovable.
And he does push-ups. Like, think of how many push-ups he did during the Chip Kelly era.
The duck is childhood. That's what it is.
The duck rides out on a motorcycle.
Harley.
That's not very lovable. That's dangerous. First of all.
And he can dance.
The duck has provided some of Lee Corso's greatest headgear moments on College Game Day. He or she, whoever the mascot is now, they come up with some unbelievable skits and caricatures to go through with that mascot.
This is college football, not a Disney cartoon.
This isn't even really a conversation. Obviously, the most lovable mascot that has ever existed in the history of college football and all sports ever is UGA. The perfectly pristine white English bulldog for Georgia. Let me just tell you stories.
She's been waiting for this all day.
I have.
Yeah, she's been waiting for
the
this all day.
only reason I'm here is to talk about UGA. He rides first class on every single plane. UGA has his own doghouse that is air-conditioned, obviously. And when he's actually hot and he's panting, he just looks like he's smiling. He's so cute and full of wrinkles. It's UGA, period, most lovable.
I used to love UGA, but I have a little personal experience with UGA that was unpleasant for me. I was doing some practice camp tours, and I was going to Athens. And Mark Fox, who was the coach at that time, said, we're going to put you up in this hotel right on campus. We're going to put you in the finest suite. So I pull into Athens, and I walk to the desk, and they go, oh, Mr. Davis, welcome. We have some bad news for you. We can't give you your suite tonight. UGA's here. I'm like, what?
Listen.
Whenever UGA's here, he gets this premier suite, and you can't stay there anymore. So as I was going up to my room, UGA's coming down in the elevator, and I realized that I've been bumped out of my room by a dog that can't even use the toilet in that room. He had to go outside.
We never said UGA was not a diva. That's not what I said.
As much fun as the mascot talk, and as silly as it's been at times, there have been mascots in college football that have carried a little baggage, and they've had a little deeper significance and have been controversial in some quarters.
I certainly liked it when the mascots went from being potentially offensive to being notably less offensive, like when Stanford went from the Indians to the Cardinal. And I guess now the guy who dresses up as a mascot is a tree. I'm down with that. I'm down with the tree.
Sometimes the mascot isn't necessarily an animal. The Sooner Schooner, you know, leading the team out.
For us, it meant touchdown, because every time we score, it runs out on the field.
It's so ridiculously hilarious when a mascot is involved in a penalty. like it was in the Orange Bowl against Washington.
And a flag is thrown on the Boomer Sooner schooner there for delay of game.
Oklahoma would probably have been the national champion that year, except for they lost their bowl game because the Sooner schooner went out on the field and they got a crucial penalty, and it changed the course of the game.
Blocked by Washington. A blocked field goal then, and now the Huskies have stopped what seemed to be a sure Oklahoma score, and Washington has the ball.
It's just so wonderfully silly. There's a pot of gold that the leprechaun protects. And when you come to the University of Notre Dame, our leprechaun protects our pot of gold, which is our football team and our university.
The Notre Dame team was known as the Vagabonds originally, but they changed that because they felt that was derogatory as a stereotype towards Irish Americans. So what do you change it to? The Fighting Irish, a little leprechaun with his chops up.
I don't remember when there was that tipping point of, wait, is Fighting Irish derogatory?
Where the Fighting Irish nickname comes from is from the media of that time and the players fighting and scrapping in games.
Time and again he's hit before he goes down under a magnificent flying tackle.
It's not a positive thing. I think Notre Dame has been able to flip the script on that and make it a positive thing and something that the Irish are proud of, but it certainly didn't start that way.
Ambivalent about Osceola and Renegade being great mascots. They're wonderful to watch, especially if the kid riding actually knows how to ride.
To be Chief Osceola, you realize that you're not representing who you are. You're representing a very cherished and unconquered people.
Currently in college football, I would say that Native American mascots constitute a significant feature that is racist. It's changed a little bit, right? Because the NCAA instituted this rule that says you can't have a mascot that is abusive or hostile. But some schools were given dispensation to continue.
Somebody has reminded the powers that dress Osceola that he was a multiracial person, Scottish, African American, and Native American, all in one. And he's now wearing authentic clothes. So I feel a lot better about the mascot than I used to.
I love Chief Osceola. I get chills literally every time. I don't care if it's in person or in television. When he comes in, oh, pah, yeah. It's like magic happens. Riding in on the horse, though? Come on, that's pimp.
The Native American mascot has been a big issue, but Florida State and Utah have worked with the tribes in those states. The Seminole tribe of Florida, approves it. Florida State does it respectfully, and I think as long as you don't cross those boundaries. I mean, Renegade and Osceola have been around since Bobby Bowden's tenure started. I think as long as the tribes are okay with it and it's done respectfully, I don't see what the issue is.
There's some semantics, too. At Florida State, I know Osceola and Renegade, I think technically are referred to as symbols as opposed to mascots because they don't want to go into that territory.
What about the Notre Dame leprechaun?
Yeah, let's talk about
He scares me. He's a lovely mascot, I'm sure. He's just a little creepy to me, and I get scared because he's just very jolly and everywhere you look, and I don't know.
I haven't seen a movement, but is anybody offended by the leprechaun?
I would think if the Irish were going to be offended by Notre Dame, we would have heard it by now. Yeah.
The initial Fighting Irish name, the school was not super happy about.
Right.
But at the time, it was kind of the least offensive of the names that were tagged on them by sports writers around the country.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just kind of what they went with.
No, to Ryan's point, there were anti-Catholic names and headlines in newspapers in New York in the 20s. I mean, it was a real thing.
There have been some controversial moments for these, but I don't recall any of them getting a penalty on the team, with the exception of the Sooner schooner. It got a penalty in the Orange Bowl against Washington. Right?
We at BYU believe that it cost Oklahoma a national championship because that penalty greatly affected the game when the schooner came out on the field when it wasn't supposed to. So I really think it maybe cost them a national championship.
A lot of different ways to have a mascot, right? And it's sort of unique to college football. So I think what we need to do now is figure out which mascots we like and which ones creep us out. Some of them might. And we're not pulling any punches here. We're still going to figure out the best mascots of all time.
Mascots really make college football unique.
There are lots and lots of eccentric mascots.
Other than Ralphie, I don't know that I've ever actually seen a buffalo.
You just become absolutely submerged in this school passion and this school pride. They want to wear their craziest outfits and they want to walk around with their mascot hats on.
It's possible that in the future, someone could see a photograph of Texas, Oklahoma playing football, and they would see Bevo on the sideline, and they might assume the game is being played to see who will be able to eat the cow.
To actually have an animal, take care of the animal, and bring it out and present it in front of people, in front of tens of thousands of people, and keep it under control, I think that's precedent.
After much debate, here are the top 11 mascots of the first 150 years of college football.
He's big and brawny, but he's also approachable.
Come on, Andy, let's go, Irish! Let's go, Irish, come on!
The only thing cooler than running out onto Owen Field is rolling out on the iconic Sooner Schooner.
Never before. Oh! People 15, man.
Got some edge to him.
When you see Traveler, kind of stirs that emotion.
Everybody knows I love the duck.
Spirit circles the stadium to get the crowd riled up.
UGA is almost bigger than the Dogs football program.
Of course we have a live tiger. We're LSU.
It's always kind of surprising they have an actual bison running on the field.
They bring this buffalo in from an undisclosed location to run around the field and basically go home and make everybody go crazy.
Why live mascots? When did that become a thing in college football?
It was Handsome Dan at Yale in the 19th century, and so Yale had a bulldog, and then the other teams thought, well, we need to do something, and it just sort of took off from there.
It was just a student. Just a student started bringing him to games, and you know, the legend is, Bill, you look this up, see if it's true or not. The legend is that the original Handsome Dan, they say, is stuffed somewhere, like in storage.
We need to find it.
Yeah, I'll let you look into that for me.